With the release of Dark Phoenix, I decided to rewatch all the X-Men movies, including Dark Phoenix, and Dark Phoenix marks the end of the X-Men film series. So, let's rank all the movies. What's good is a Boydude reviews, and today we have got all 12 X-Men movies ranked from the worst to the best. And when I mean all 12, I mean yes, all of them, including all the Wolverine and Deadpool movies as well. I'm going to rank all of them based on entertainment, visual look, story, and whether it really tugged my heartstrings as well. I'm not gonna base it on what other people think, I'm gonna base it on my opinion. So I will warn you, it's my opinion and it's my thoughts and opinions, and don't judge me too harshly. And obviously I'm gonna talk way too much about spoilers, so yeah, warning, it's gonna contain spoilers for every last one of these movies, so you better go and watch it. Right, with that said, let's get on with the review. And coming at last place at number 12 is X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, X-Men Origins of Wolverine, what can I say about this film? Seeking a private life from his dark past, Logan, better known as the Wolverine, seems to have found love and contentment with Kyler, Silver Fox. Logan's peaceful existence is shattered when Victor Creed, his vicious brother, brutally murders Kyler. Logan's thirst for revenge propels him into the Weapon X program, where he undergoes a painful procedure to bond his bones with adamantium, making him vertically indestructible and more than a match for Victor and Stryker. Now, the thing I did like about this film was that Hugh Jackman always just gives it his all, you know. No matter how good or bad the script is, he just gives it his all because he loves the character Wolverine, and it shows. The first 10 minutes of the film is pretty damn amazing. I love seeing little Wolverine and him in the past, and I love that montage of Wolverine and Sabretooth battling through all the wars of the American history. I thought that was really nice, to be honest with you. Also, I love the guy who plays the Sabretooth, Liv Schreiber, if that's his name. He did a pretty damn good job as Sabretooth. And also, I really like Danny Houston's performance as William Stryker. While Brian Cox's performance was pretty good, yeah, Brian Cox's performance was better, but I do like Danny Houston. He did a really good job as well. Ryan Reynolds is also in as Wade Wilson, and as the character, he did an okay job, though his solo films did a better version of it. But the problem with this film is that the script really does suck. I mean, it really does suck. The script is so bad and the story is so bad and comic book like. The visual effects look so bad that you feel like you're watching a cartoon at times, particularly the scenes with Wolverine looking at his claws. They look so weird. The frame rate doesn't match with the picture frame rate, and it just looks so weird and all that. And I didn't like the plot twist involving Kyler being William Stryker's secret agent person, and it was like, okay, what was the point of that twist if she was going to get back with Logan in the end and then die in the end, and Logan was going to have his brain erased? Like, what was the point of it all? Like, what was the point of even having that love story? Well, the post love story did kind of motivate Logan into doing what he did, but I just thought it was kind of dumb and unnecessary. I could bang on and on about how much I hate this film, but I've done solo video reviews, so go check those movies out. At number 11, it's X-Men Dark Phoenix. Yes, it's the movie I just saw a few days ago, and it's not good. I mean, I'll give it props. The visual look of the film is decent at times, but that's pretty much it. But what is Dark Phoenix all about? Well, set in the 1990s, this is the story of one of X-Men's most beloved characters, Jean Grey, as she evolves into the iconic Dark Phoenix. During life-threatening rescue missions in space, Jean is hit by a cosmic force that transforms her into one of the most powerful mutants of all. Wrestling with this increasingly unstable power as well as her own personal demons, Jean spirals out of control, tearing the X-Men family apart and threatening to destroy the very fabric of our planet. This film was meant to be the conclusion of the X-Men film series because Disney bought Fox during the making of it, and it does show because it looks like Simon Kinberg was planning on making an entirely new trilogy with these new X-Men characters, and because Disney purchased Fox, it went all into the bin and they had to reshoot a ton of things. But yeah, it's not that great, to be honest with you. The problem I have with this film is that everyone talks like this in a monotone voice and it comes across really boring, and the way they talk, the way it's executed, the way they say certain words, it comes across really dull, to be honest with you. I wasn't a fan of how they portrayed Mystique in this film, and Beast, it's particularly Beast. I feel like Jennifer Lawrence was just so bored and tired with this movie that she wanted to be killed off, and to her wish, she was killed off. And I didn't feel I didn't feel that emotion, because I kind of wish they killed Mystique in X-Men Apocalypse. That would have really brought her story arc full circle, and it would have been a nice fitting way to end the first class trilogy of movies, to be honest with you. I, to this day, wish that the end of the X-Men movies with like the main X-Men films with Apocalypse didn't have Logan and Deadpool, and then that's it. But I didn't understand why they wanted to make more. Just give it to MCU, put X-Men on the ice, and then bring it back, make it fresh and make it better. And also, the problem with this film is that not just the script, but the problem I have is that the way they handled the Dark Phoenix thing is that, okay, yeah, they kind of made it more like the comics, but it still came across kind of cartoony and stupid at times, you know. Everyone just acts weird in this film. Even Professor X is very nasty at times, you know. He never admits to his mistakes, and he's always just so nasty and mean to people, even kind of driving the X-Men family apart, and it's really uncomfortable and very unappealing, to be honest with you. I didn't like that in the slightest, to be honest with you. Also, the script just didn't do this film any favors. But go watch my full movie review to hear my full opinions on that. And number 10, we have got X-Men Apocalypse. Now, this is my opinion, the true ending to how the X-Men, like as a team up movie, should have ended, like with the Apocalypse film, because the ending of this film like ended with Charles kind of looking more like himself in the 2000 movies, the X-Men kind of suiting up, and it's kind of like moving towards that, and I kind of wish that's how they just ended it, you know. The movie wasn't too bad either. What was it all about? Well, this movie was set in the 1980s, and worshipped as a god since the dawn of civilization, this immortal Apocalypse becomes the first and most powerful mutant, awakening after thousands of years. He recruits the disheartened Magneto and other mutants to create a new world order. As the fate of the Earth hangs in the balance, Professor X, Raven, and Beast lead a young team of X-Men to stop their seemingly invincible nemesis from destroying mankind. Now, what I did like about this film is that it was directed by Bryan Singer and written, and it was originally story by him, and I have to admit, it did feel like an X-Men movie at times, you know. Scenes involving Magneto and Professor X I really did like. I loved that kind of mind final boss fight between Professor X and Apocalypse. I thought that was such a unique and different way on doing a final boss battle. I thought it was really cool as well, to be honest with you. That Quicksilver scene with Sweet Dreams Are Made of These was absolutely phenomenal and just crazy good. I really did like the script when it came to the young X-Men. I thought the young cast did a really good job in this. Cyclops, Sophie Turner as the Jean Grey character, and even the Nightcrawler character, I thought they were all really great. They got really good lines, and I really enjoyed this new, fresh take on the X-Men guys, you know. My main gripe with this film is that the Apocalypse villain ruins the movie entirely. He's just this one-dimensional cartoon villain who is just stupid. He puts his hand on the TV and he's like, "I am learning," and it's just stupid. And because of that, the script fails, and it results in saying, like, it results in like the screen, like the writing of certain characters to be really bad. Jennifer Lawrence again does a terrible performance in this movie. She doesn't do as bad a job as in Dark Phoenix, but I feel like she could have emoted a little bit more in this film. And also, I wish they killed her off in this movie, because it would have definitely closed her character up down better, to be honest with you. But yeah, it is what it is. And number 9 is X-Men The Last Stand. Yeah, that movie directed by Brett Ratner, and that went through production heck because Bryan Singer didn't want to make any more X-Men films. He wanted to do Superman. It was like, oh no, what did they do? The discovery of a cure for mutants leads to a turning point for Magneto and his brotherhoods as they want to start war, and they the X-Men must now choose to give up their powers and become fully human or retain their uniqueness and remain isolated. War looms between Professor X and Magneto, who advocates survival of the fittest. Meanwhile, Jean Grey returns and it's not herself and becomes the Dark Phoenix. Now, this film, what I like is that I love the original cast. I prefer the original cast than the newer versions over, like, I love the original cast. I feel so nostalgic when I watch these old films. It's just so great, you know. They did a good job, and I liked Storm having a bit more to do in this movie as well. And the film is short and sweet, I have to admit. I did like the whole plot involving the cure. I thought it was great, and it left certain characters deliberating on whether they should keep their powers or not, if it was worth it being a superhero if people hated them. And Rogue immediately just gives up being an X-Men, and she gets the cure, and I thought that was good, you know. I thought that made sense because her powers, she will hurt people if she touches them, and it made sense, to be honest with you. I also prefer, I don't know, I kind of prefer this Dark Phoenix a bit more than Sophie Turner's Dark Phoenix, just because it had a dual personality, but I feel like that for a movie, that was a better way to do it. I know it's not as it was in the comics, but I do prefer this version so much more than the Dark Phoenix movie we got. And the movie is a lot better. Like, characters that people hate, like the Juggernaut, I flipping love the Juggernaut. I thought he was funny as heck. And yeah, the problem with this film is that there's too many characters in the film, you know. Like, I didn't mind the original story. I didn't mind what they were planning with this film. I thought it had a better script than Dark Phoenix, but because the film was too short, they didn't have time to explore the other side characters, you know. And that was the problem. Another problem was killing off Professor X and Scott Summers. That was a bad call on Fox. They should have kept them alive, to be honest with you. I thought it would have really made this movie so much more stronger. But I prefer it more than Dark Phoenix. And watch my full review to see my full opinions. At number 8, we have got the Wolverine. Wolverine is in Japan, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Lured to a Japan he hasn't seen since World War II, century-old mutant Wolverine finds himself in a shadowy realm of Yakuza and samurai. Wolverine is pushed to his physical and emotional brink when he is forced to go on the run with a powerful industrialist daughter and is confronted for the first time with the prospect of death. As he struggles to rediscover the hero within himself, he must grapple with powerful foes and the ghost of his own haunted past. Yeah. The thing I like about this film is that I just like seeing an X-Men character in a different country. It feels like a different world. It's different, it's new, and it feels so fresh. When I first saw this film, I loved the heck out of it. I was so into it. I loved everything about it. It was great. But the more times I watch it, the more I seem to notice like stuff that isn't really great. Particularly the whole villains and all that lot. And towards the end, yeah, the main villain, the guy in the big robot suit, is the industrialist daughter. I forgot her name. But yeah, it's her grandfather, and it's really stupid. I just didn't understand why they. Oh, Mariko, that's her name. Is her grandfather, and I was like. Yeah, he has this one cringy line was like, Mariko, it's me, your grandfather. That was the worst line in any X-Men movie, and it was so Hollywoody, it was so bad. I didn't like the villains or their motivations. It was so stupid, and it was so forced on, and it was just so bad. The entire movie up to the third act was so good, and it had so much weight and emotion to it. But then that third act just ruined it entirely, to be honest with you. Go check my full review out to see my full opinions. At number 7, we have got the first Deadpool film, Deadpool. And yeah, it was so great to see Ryan Reynolds literally persist Fox on making this movie. He spent years and years wanting to make this movie a reality, and he finally did, and we got it, and Deadpool in all his glory. Wade Wilson is a former Special Forces operative who now works as a mercenary. His world comes crashing down when evil scientist Ajax tortures, defigures, and transforms him into Deadpool. The rogue experiment leaves Deadpool with accelerated healing powers and a twisted sense of humor. With help from mutant allies Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Deadpool uses his new skills to hunt down the man who nearly destroyed his life. What I love about this film is that they went dark with this film. They went 15 R-rated, and the action scenes look so much better with that R rating. Like, there are so many fascinating, original looking like violent scenes that I've never seen in a movie before. Like that free-head gunshot, I thought that was pretty sick and gory at the same time. I love the Deadpool character. I think Ryan Reynolds does a great job, and all the supporting cast do a really great job. I don't like Ajax as the villain. I thought he was really annoying, to be honest with you. He had this annoying personality about him, and I didn't like that smugness about him. It was really off-putting, to be honest with you. But the thing that I didn't like about this film is that the plot wasn't that engaging, you know. I mean, it is a revenge story, it's him going to find Ajax, but I wasn't as into the film as people were into the film when they watched it. And I do prefer the second Deadpool, and that's why we come straight to number 6, and it is Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2 is Deadpool meets Russell, an angry teenage mutant who lives in an orphanage. When Russell becomes the target of Cable, a genetically enhanced soldier from the future, Deadpool realizes that he will need some help saving the boy from such a superior enemy. He soon joins his forces with Bedlam, Shatterstar, Domino, and other powerful mutants to destroy young Russell from Cable and his advancing weaponry. I like this film more because the plot is so much more engaging, and it feels more urgent than the first one, you know. There's this sense of urgency from the part when Deadpool's girlfriend has been killed, to him just wanted to just get revenge on the people who killed her, to, it's just so much better. And I think the comedic moments are better in this movie than the first one, to be honest with you. I like this film so much more. The visual look was considerably better. The soundtrack was better. Everything about this movie was better than the first one, and if I had to choose this movie over the first one, I would watch this movie again. I love all the X-Force characters. I thought they were really great, and it has that one scene with the Annie song which was just so fantastic, to be honest with you. My only main gripe with this movie is that I think the screenwriters just put way too many jokes in this film. They just give you as much. It's like throwing a bunch of candy at you. It's like, here you go, here you go, here you go. It's like, okay, Habibi, slow down. Habibi, slow down. At number 5, we have got Logan, Hugh Jackman's final performance as the Wolverine. In the near future, a weary Logan cares for an alien Professor X at a remote outpost on the Mexican border. His plans to hide from the outside world get upended when he meets a young mutant who is very much like him. Logan must now protect the girl and battles the dark forces that want to capture her. What I like about this film is Hugh Jackman's gritty, grunty performance as the Wolverine. He is tired, worn out, battered, and heartbroken after everything that has happened, and I love Patrick Stewart's performance as Professor X. He gives us the best Professor X performance I've ever seen. It's very reminiscent of James McAvoy's performance as Professor X in Days of Future Past, where he's just not himself, and it's very interesting seeing how he's like this, you know. And it's very interesting how Logan had to care for the young Xavier in the past and now in the future. It's like, it's so interesting, you know. I do like the story. It's very dark. The violence is upped even more because of the R rating. Wolverine is at its best with those claws slashing. You see blood for the first time with his claws since that flashback in X2, and it's a great film. The only gripe I have to the film is that the villains aren't that likable. I never really liked the villains, to be honest with you, all their motivation. And the second act of the film, it gets really boring. It just becomes more of a road trip, to be honest with you. But overall, it's a good conclusion to Logan's storyline. At number 4, we have got X-Men: The First Class. This movie became the prequel to introduce how Professor X and Magneto first met. And what is the film all about? Well, set in 1962, during the height of the Cold War, a mutant named Charles Xavier meets fellow mutant named Eric Lancia. Despite their vastly different backgrounds, Charles grew up with a wealthy family while Eric lost his parents, and the two became close friends. As the world teeters on the brink of a nuclear war, Charles and Eric with other mutants join forces to save humanity. However, a solution soon tears the friends apart. And what I love about this film is how it's the casting of it. James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender did great performances, as well as Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. They all just knocked it out of the park with these performances, and I just absolutely loved the whole tone, the 60s spy feel tone it had. Very reminiscent to James Bond movies that came out this year, you know. I feel like X-Men works as a spy film, to be honest with you, and this is definitely the best one. At times it does kind of remind me of The Winter Soldier, I have to admit. It does have that feel and vibe. Kevin Bacon as the villain is just amazing, so underrated. He's one of the better villains of the X-Men film series, apart from Magneto. Great villain. And it gets better and better as I each rewatch this film. Only problem is that maybe it's a little too long, and maybe the Cold War elements do kind of go on a little bit too long, but apart from that, I love this film. It's great. Right, number 3, we've got the very first X-Men, the X-Men that began it all, X-Men 2000, made in the year 2000, of course, duh. And what is the film was about? Well, in a world filled with hate and prejudice, the mutants are feared by those who cannot accept their differences. Led by Xavier, the X-Men fight to protect a world that fears them. They are locked in battle with former colleague and friend Magneto, who believes humans and mutants should never coexist. What I love about this film is how it introduces the world of X-Men, the whole world building aspect, and I love the whole tone of it. It has this very grounded, realistic feel to it that a lot of the other X-Men don't really have, to be honest with you. This film feels like it could be set in our time. It could happen anytime, and the characters do give really great realistic performances. Hugh Jackman, Famke Janssen, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Halle Berry, Anna Paquin, they are all amazing, great characters that we all love and know to this day. I absolutely love the tone of this film. I just love it. I crave this tone. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It looks visually appealing. I love the story in this film. I absolutely loved it. It was great. It was a great start to the film series. And just coming at number 2, I had to think about this one for a while, and I just thought which movie hit me more, and I think my final decision was definitely justified. And at number 2, running up, is X-Men 2, or X2, or X2 United, however you want to call it. And what is this movie about? Well, this movie is set like 3 years after the events of the second one, and William Stryker, a villain former army commander, holds the key to Wolverine's past and the future of the X-Men. This threat reignites the call for a Mutant Registration Act. William Stryker starts a full-out assault on Professor X's mansion and school. After escaping his plastic cell, Magneto proposes a partnership with Xavier and the X-Men to combat this new formidable enemy they both have in common. What I love about this film is that it absolutely builds upon the world that the first X-Men movie did, establishing characters and giving characters more to do in this film. This film feels so urgent, and it feels so justified, and it's amazingly great. I love Brian Cox's performance as William Stryker, you know, and I love the whole mystery aspect of Logan and his past, you know. I really believe that they should not have told his past and just kept it a secret, because it just gives Logan that oomph, you know. I love that oomph to it. I love the story as well. It's so great, it's so gripping, it's pretty dark as well. And it's a great X-Men film. There's nothing I hate about this film. Maybe the action scenes aren't done as well because it's an old film, and the action scenes do look really dated. And some of the visual effects is pretty dated as well. This one and the second X-Men, I will admit, and the first one. But apart from that, it's a great film, which is just great, which I highly recommend. But coming at number 1 at the top spot is X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, this movie was kind of, in a way, the closest thing to an Avengers Endgame in the X-Men film series that we got, to be honest with you. And convinced that mutants pose a threat to humanity, Dr. Bolivia Trask develops the Sentinels, enormous robotic weapons that can detect a mutant gene and zero in on that person. In the 21st century, the Sentinels have evolved into highly efficient killing machines. With mutants now facing extinction, Wolverine volunteers to go back in time and rally the X-Men of the past to help change a pivotal moment in history and thereby save their future. This movie was amazing. I love the fact that they it was like worlds colliding, having the first class X-Men with the original X-Men. It's just, oh my gosh, it was so great. Seeing them all in the same movie was just kind of mind-blowing, to be honest with you, and kind of crazy and trippy, you know. I love their performances. Jennifer Lawrence gets one of her best career performances as Mystique. It's amazing, it's fantastic. James McAvoy is amazing, giving this broken down Xavier. He's phenomenal. And Magneto, Michael Fassbender is a great dude. I really do like the future characters, like you got Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Halle Berry, the guy who played Barbie. Oh my gosh, you got everyone back. You even got Anna Paquin for a little bit. You got Ellen Page as Kitty. All the original cast are all back. You got Colossus. Oh my gosh, that opening scene. Oh my gosh, it's like the first 10 minutes is like, oh my gosh, we are in for a ride. And this film is non-stop action, it's non-stop entertainment. Every scene is just going somewhere. It's keeping you up, it's moving, it's progressing the plot. My gosh, 2 hours and 31 minutes long, but this film just goes on and it's beautiful. Absolutely amazing. It's actually kind of surprising how amazing they made this film, to be honest with you, because this is definitely the best X-Men movie, you know. Bryan Singer returning was the best decision Fox made. He brought back the tone of the X-Men that the original two had. It was great, it was magnificent. Go check my full videos of those out right now. And yeah, that's my top 12 list on all the X-Men movies. But thank you for watching this review. Please like this video and comment down below and tell me what's your favorite X-Men movies. Days of Future Past is my fave. Of that, am I wrong? Tell me in the comments. I'd like to know your opinion. But thank you for watching this review. Please like and share this video and subscribe for more videos. I do Disney videos, I do Marvel videos, I do Beyblade videos, I do anime videos. Whatever you want, I'll do it for you. Just comment down below and tell me what I should do next. But thanks for watching. As always, Boydude Reviews signing out.